may be relatively new to this TV machine thing, but I have learned this much thus far. Make sure your microphone is turned off before you say anything nasty about anyone. Tonight in our fourth story on the countdown, the Reverend Jesse Jackson is learning that lesson the hard way. Reverend Jackson apologizing tonight for critical comments he made about Senator Obama that were picked up by a Fox News Channel microphone. On Sunday morning, off-air on Fox and Friends, Jackson was speaking to a fellow guest and apparently reacting to the speech that Obama gave on Father's Day, in which he scolded the absentee fathers of children in single-parent households. As you have already no doubt gathered, Fox News was recording the conversation. And just minutes ago, Mr. William O'Reilly shared that meant-to-be private exchange with the cable news world.
Talking down to black people on this faith-based talking down to black people.
Trying to stay ahead of the story, earlier tonight, Mr. Jackson publicly apologized to Senator Obama.
I have great passion for this campaign and travel across the country, the length and breadth of our nation, on radio and TV and churches and schools, arguing the case for the campaign. And I want to remain a part of the supportive element of it. And if in this thing I've said in a hot mic statement that's interpreted as distractions, I offer apology for that, because I don't want harm or hurt to come to this campaign. It represents too much of the dreams of so many who paid such great prices, and I'm very sensitive to what that means.
In a heartwarming show of family unity, Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. has issued a statement in which he thoroughly rejects and repudiates the ugly rhetoric of Reverend Jackson, a.k.a. Dad. Senator Obama seems to be taking it much better. His spokesman says in a statement tonight, quote, "As someone who grew up without a father in the home, Senator Obama has spoken and written for many years about the issue of parental responsibility, including the importance of fathers participating in their children's lives. He also discusses our responsibility as a society to provide jobs, justice, and opportunity for all. He will continue to speak about our responsibilities to ourselves and each other, and he, of course, accepts Reverend Jackson's apology," end quote. Let's bring in Democratic strategist Chris Kofinas, former communications director for the John Edwards campaign. Mr. Kofinas, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Is this a problem for Reverend Jackson, or is this a problem for Senator Obama, or both?
I think it's a problem for Reverend Jackson. I think the reason why you saw him come out pretty quickly and apologize was indicative of that. And I think it's even more telling that his son, Jesse Jackson Jr., came out with a pretty strong and harsh statement condemning what his father said. I think it made it very clear that what the Reverend said was way over the top.
On the substance of what Jackson said so crudely here, and he reiterated some of the thinking behind the statement in his explanations after the fact. On that substance, no matter how crudely he suggested it in the first place, is Obama going to lose support in the African-American community because of his Father's Day speech, because he called for personal responsibility in that speech?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think some of the mistake that some people make, some on the right, some on the left, and definitely some of the pundits, is they see this race, through race. And if you really look at, Senator Obama's candidacy, his whole philosophy has been about bringing people together, uniting different groups. It's not specifically targeting one specific individual, whether it's African Americans or Greek Americans or whomever it might be. And I think that is indicative of why he's had such incredible appeal, not only in the Democratic primary, but really has energized, Democratic and American politics, unlike I think we've seen in a generation or two. And I think that's, the fundamental mistake that sometimes people make. They want him to be a different type of candidate. That is not the kind of candidate he is. And to be honest, I don't think it's the kind of candidate he should be.
It feels like the constant conversation almost since it became apparent that he was going to get this nomination. The distance between what he's actually saying, how he's actually campaigning, and how we like to think he is campaigning and behaving. There's been a big distance between those, I think, for a long time. People really do project whatever they want onto him, and the media isn't accepted. Chris, I don't want to get too exact about the phrase that Reverend Jackson used here. Forgive me. But we're talking literally about emasculation. The same issue was raised during the primaries when Hillary Clinton supporters talked about her testicular fortitude. Don't Democratic male politicians get their manhood attacked all the time?
Yeah, it's the unfortunate, dare I say, nutty nature of American politics sometimes. The reality here is this is not about one group or one individual. I mean, the reality here is this is about Senator Obama trying to appeal across the country and literally lead this country in a new direction. I mean, I think when people kind of step back and realize what Senator Obama has accomplished, I mean, I think people focus on what the obvious part is, that he's the first African-American candidate, but it's much more than that. He's really offering a bold new vision that preaches to wide groups of people, and that, I think, is the power of his candidacy, and that's why I think he's going to be the president come November.
Chris Kofinas, former communications director for the John Edwards campaign. It's nice to talk with you again. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Rachel.